There is a place where the lost embers go as their light begins to fade. Ember ran because standing still made them feel helpless. The wall glistened. The painting showed embers on a sacred journey. Ember felt so afraid and alone. That it was a relief to find someone to talk to. Ember froze, almost too frightened to look away. When they noticed a small satchel. The satchel felt heavy. Ember looked inside. The statue shone brightly in the light. There was a symbol on the floor. There was a symbol on the floor. There was a symbol on the floor. Ember noticed something wrong. There was a round space where something used to fit. To Ember's delight, the golden statue slid perfectly into place. Ember left, feeling sorry for the stranger now alone in the dark. The stairway opened into a dark forest. Ember could feel fear taking over. They'd washed up alone, somewhere very unfamiliar. Ember felt like they were being watched. The path was blocked. As Ember approached, the flame seemed to call out. Ember felt like falling in darkness and ruin. Slipped away. Caged flame stoked new hope in Ember. Hope was almost within reach. The flame spoke and Ember listened. The flame lingered ahead. Was it trying to escape? Or leading the way? Campfire flickered into life. The ghost spoke. Hope has returned to a forlorn. I will warm them until they choose to move on. Ember looked to the ghost for answers. This is a place between places, to travel through as your light fades, but none have passed on in a long time. The Forest King now holds us here, and those who linger will turn forlorn. Again that word, forlorn. I am just a guide along the way to so many lost embers have I seen, more than I could help. The forlorn are those who lost their way along the path. If you find them, send them to me and I will guide them. Ember thought of those they loved, those they'd left behind. There are others lost along their journey. Find them and I will guide them. Step backwards, little ember. Look behind. Upon a small grassy cliff rests a forlorn. The traveller spoke. I miss a good roast frog. Oh, how they crackle. The stranger had been forgotten. They tried to follow as best they could. But no one heard them when they fell behind. The stranger looked at Ember with surprise. Someone came back for me. Thank you. The stranger looked at Ember with surprise. Someone came back for me. Thank you. Barely visible through the murky water was the shadowest, and on a small pier with barely a sound, a lonely fisherman sat. The traveller said, You sailed in. Friend, you need a boat. Go see the builder in the caves. Tell them I'm sorry I never came back. The stranger had blazed their own path, created their own rock, their own islands. They did not need Ember's kindness. But still, Ember stayed. Building a bridge should it ever be needed. The stranger met Ember's eyes. The two shared a moment of silence. The stranger met Ember's eyes. The two shared a moment of silence. The Ember was curious. Where did you wake up? I'm headed for the crossroads. It's not far, I think. I've heard there's a nest there. A safe place. The fisherman murmured quietly between soulful breaths. The fisherman felt so useless. The fisherman murmured quietly between soulful breaths. The fisherman felt so useless. His former joys were hollow. Sitting out there every day by the pond. Only the dark water to hear him talk. In that darkness, a glimmer flickered. A thought beating like a drum. A thought that went round and round. It all started with a frog. Every day by the pond, a constant reminder. For a brief moment, the fisherman struggled to speak. He looked at Ember, hopeful. The fisherman spoke softly. There's a frog in that pond, a big one. Saw him grow from a tadpole. We were friends of a sort. Spent every day side by side. So much better at fishing than me, that frog is. Catches them before I can bait them. Oh, it makes me feel useless some days. The fisherman sighed. I've wasted so much time feeling like this. The old man looked carefully at the pond, at their rod, at Ember. Well, listen to me here, rambling on and on. It helps, though, telling someone. Thank you, Ember. If you need help catching anything, you just ask. Poor little worms. They didn't ask to be here. But how do you fish without them? One for me, one for the fishes. Slurp 'em down. You saw the frog? Did the frog mention me? You ask the frog about me, see what they say. Actually, no, just... Please don't tell the frog how much I talk about them. If you need help catching anything, you just ask. I chased old Blue Betty round this pond for years. Best days of my life catching that fish. Had to use myself as bait. Stuck on me head ever since. They say catching a fish isn't the point. So I tell myself that. I tell myself that a lot. If you need help catching anything, you just ask. The stranger was trapped, caught in a maze. It was hard to make sense of this place. The trail just kept on closing. The stranger's voice was hoarse. I just need some time, I think, to see things clearly. The stranger's voice was hoarse. I just need some time, I think, to see things clearly. The frog stared at Embo, its belly rumbling. Its eyes were fixed on Embo, but it seemed to mean no harm. Was this the frog that the fisherman spoke of? Ember could hardly ignore the rumbling from the frog's belly. The frog stared at Embo, its belly rumbling. If you need help catching anything, you just ask. If you need help catching anything, you just ask. The ghost said, "Speak and I will listen." The path ahead lies behind that door. Do you know that if you return, you will always be welcome? Warm yourself, little one. Time is to be savored. The old gate was locked. The crow held its shining trophy tight. The cave entrance was overgrown with dry brambles. The stranger whispered. "I've never felt that. What does it feel like? Is it nice? It sounds nice." The worm looked helpless. As Ember picked it up, the worm let out a little yelp. Inside was a scrap of journal. The strangers on the water went on without me. Where have I landed? Vines and thorns stretch out to trip me. He was nestled between the reeds, but it was just out of reach. If you need help catching anything, you just ask. The frog stared at Embo, its belly rumbling. This was not how Embo had imagined the end. The gurgling of water, a deafening heartbeat. But then... the frog returned Ember's good deed by leading them to a lost forlorn. The stranger stood alone. Their friends have fallen aside, retreating from what came next. The stranger had ventured on. Now they were deep in the woods. It felt so pointless. The stranger spoke hesitantly. Is the campfire crowded? Let me gather myself. I'll see you there. The stranger spoke. You look hungry, friend. There's a cook in the swamp. Makes a broth like you wouldn't. Keep telling them that it doesn't taste right. They'll keep giving you more. The Wanderer's Diary. Unfamiliar trees, a path overgrown. Is this a resting place? A place between places? I call out, but mine is the only voice. If you need help catching anything, you just ask. The ghost said, "Speak and I will listen." West of here, a cruel stone compound, locked away without a key, an ember turned forlorn. The ghost said, "Speak and I will listen." The path ahead, know that if you return you will always be welcome. Little one, your journey ahead will not be. The path to leave this place is blocked. I will guide others to follow after you clear the way. There are others like me who can help. You will always be welcome here in the forest. The stranger said thoughtfully, "I felt so alone. I was so lost." Once again, Ember could feel eyes watching. Ember approached the forlorn, but felt it was different. They said, "I know what I need to do, what I need to feel. I don't want to be helped." Ember could not help. Not all problems were puzzles to be solved. Ember found the Wanderer's diary. The oily smell of frogs. They know more than they will say. They watch me watching them. The guard squawked. "Stand back, don't come any closer." The guard was protecting a path down between the rocks. Nothing down there but sadness and turning forlorn. "Go see the Forest King. He'll set you straight." The Forest King showed me the way. "You'll see there's no need to keep going. He'll make a bird of you. Go get your feathers." two travelers were talking quietly. Yeah, I got so lost in the marsh, you know. Why go anywhere else if it's safe here? Yeah, never having to worry again. The birds scare me though. The two travelers, yeah, why go anywhere? Yeah, the birds scare me though. Do you know where we are? I've been walking forever, lost in the marsh. The guard joked. Another scrawny imp, and with a bag looking all nicely and shiny. Both guards started looking at Ember with a deathly stare. The guard leered. The Forest King would like you, little... Yes, come a little closer. Let us see what's in that bag. We guard the door to the Forest King. Oh yes, we decide who gets to see the king. The Forest King will want to see you. Yes, yes, come this way. A feeling of foreboding overcame Ember. Ember was terrified but tried not to show it. The giant bird spoke softly. Another little Ember. Speak, little one. Do not fear. The bird is a friend. Ember wanted to feel safe. Oh, little Ember, birds won't hurt you. Birds will take another under our wing. Stay safe in the nest, you'll never turn forlorn. Ember was still afraid. Is it the night that scares you, little one? See, night is gone. Day is here. Birds will make the world less frightening. It wasn't only the night that frightened Ember. The bird was disappointed. Stay? No need to help, silly forlorn. Hope is false. Hope hurts little ones in the end. The Forest King spoke so gently to Ember. Perhaps they could rest here for a while. It was hard to know what else to say. Clever little Ember. You will stay. You will not turn forlorn. Search for hope no more. Now take this feather. Feather means Ember is one of us now. Birds keep little ones safe. Birds should never leave the nest. The guards seemed pleased. Clever Scruff sticking with us. I can hold that bag for you. Leave him alone, they're one of us now. Yeah, one of us. and we all shares bags and things. The travelers had disappeared. The campfire remained. The ashes were still warm. Bear tracks lay in the cinders. The guard squawked. Stand back, don't come any closer. Nothing down there, but go see the Forest King. He'll set you straight. Got your first feather, I see. Stand watch here. Promise you won't let anyone pass. Ember didn't like deceiving the birds. But what choice did they have? They couldn't rest in that place forever. Ember uncovered a journal entry. Dusk brings the longest shadows. The lanthorn comforts me. Soft melodies from home. The wild things listen. Yellow eyes in greying trees.